What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Today, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail and title, we're going to fit the Forge blow-off valve on the Suzuki Swift Sport. Now, this particular item I got for an absolute steal. Unfortunately, I've not been able to sort of like reach out to Forge and get any sort of discount or anything like that that I can pass on. But this blow-off valve, in my opinion, is probably the loudest, just due to its design and how it's made. And I don't think there are many options anyway on the aftermarket for this particular car. But it should be a very quick and very easy install. I'm going to take you through it anyway, so that if you want to fit a blow-off valve like this on your particular car, on your Suzuki Swift Sport, then you'll be able to do so. So let's jump into it. So as you can see here, we've got the Suzuki Swift Sport engine bay, and we've got the OEM recirculation valve here for the boost. So this will blow off the turbo pressure, if you like, internally, so that you don't hear any of the good noises. You can hear it a little bit when you're at, like, you know, full throttle and stuff like that, but nothing like what an aftermarket, an external sort of blow-off valve will give you sound wise. Nothing like that. Now, it looks very, very simple in that there's a 10mm just there, there's this clamp here, that clamp there, and another clamp down there on that particular hose, just there next to the turbo, little baby turbo. So yeah, it should be really, really easy. So we're gonna dismantle that, take these bits off, but before we do that, we'll have a quick look at the new one. So this is the blow-off valve. This is how it came to me. You've got in this little box a new hose there for the vacuum line, little bracket, a couple of clamps for the new hose. Here's the new Forge branded hose, little decal, and of course the blow-off valve itself. There we go. It's quite a nice piece, sort of anodized, like a matte black, but it's got quite a nice shine to it. Really nice looking. That was a hard one.
It's too hard.
That's staying in, is that? So we've just got the clamp off the bottom of the hose down there where it recirculates, because you do have to replace the old tube with the new one because it is a different diameter for the blow-off valve itself. It's a much larger diameter on the bottom of that blow-off valve in comparison to the stock item that recirculates. To stop it recirculating as well and to stop losing pressure, you do get a little bracket or a little clamp or something like that. There we go. You get that goes into the hole, if you like, and blocks off the charge pipe there. So that's going to bolt up to there, and then we'll be able to put the pipe in and the blow-off valve on. Now the most awkward part is this little clamp at the bottom of the hose, because there's no space whatsoever to get a ratchet onto the hose clamp. They're like Jubilee clips. I've just managed to get it on. I'll probably end up dropping my ratchet, but that's the movement. That's the extent of the room that you've got to try and tighten up this bottom clamp. So this bit's a nightmare.
"2,000 years later."
So now that's on and tight at the bottom of the Forge Motorsport hose. There's a lot of weird and quirky things. It's not a direct swap, so this little Forge blanking plate here uses its own recessed hex key sort of bolt, and you have to reuse the O-ring as well. There's also this little clamp here that I've reused from the original vacuum hose, just to hold this wire out of the way, because it did have this little bracket, this metal bracket, holding it by the OEM bolt on this, on the original blow-off valve. There was like this bracket on this little plastic clip here onto this bolt, the original bolt that went through that hole, holding this wire out of the way. So I've reused that little clamp there because this is going to be up here and sort of on top of the blow-off valve, so we won't be able to use that sort of little clamp there. So I've reused that to keep the wire out of the way of everything. Next then, after you've done those two little bits, is to get this nut freed off, so that then you can put the clamp on that holds the blow-off valve in place, so that it's not wobbling around and smashing into your aircon piping and your intake piping and all that sort of stuff in that immediate area. So that's the next thing that we're going to free off. Put the bracket on there, clamp the blow-off valve onto that, and clamp the bracket onto the hose itself. What's that? Say that again.
Is it in? Oh, record me.
Yeah, funny. So it is now all complete. As you can see, this bracket here, we did have to clock it slightly just to move the blow-off valve away from this pipe here. You don't want it to rub through, and you don't want this little bracket to make a mess of this lovely looking blow-off valve. We've put this tube on it here because we did need to swap that from the OEM one. The OEM one just wasn't long enough, and it was sort of putting a fold in the vacuum line there, so obviously it wouldn't function as a vacuum line if you were to leave it. I just don't like the cable ties. They don't look as nice as the metal sort of clamps. It had little mini metal clamps on there and there, but tiny detail I suppose. You do reuse the bolt here that's from the blanking plate, the forged blanking plate there. You reuse that bolt here. I might see if I can swap that perhaps when I get to my dad's, just for a nice short one, just so it doesn't look as odd. But apart from that, you know, the pipes like branded just down there, as you can see. The top of that looks really nice and sort of matte black and shiny. And then you've got the branded forge blanking plate there for the charge pipe there coming off the turbo, or the turbo elbow. But yeah, it looks really cool. And now we're going to see what it sounds like. So that concludes today's video, and now the missus, who you might have seen has been helping me throughout this entire video, is going to go take it for a test drive, because it is her car. This is her first modification on her Suzuki Swift, and she's excited to say the least. So she's disappearing now to go and give it a quick run, wind the window down and see how she likes it. So that's it for this particular video. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this tutorial helpful. They do give you instructions in the box, but I thought it might have been better to have a full visual of you know, the process, if you like, of fitting the blow-off valve. So again, thank you very much for watching. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe below if you haven't done so already, and check out the thanks button as well to support the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.